So the secure-based model is a model of attachment developed specifically for children in care. It has 5 dimensions, which we'll cover in this video, and it also describes the interplay between the way that carers think and feel and behave and the way that children, as a result, think, feel and behave. Children who've been removed from their families are very likely to have had really difficult relationships with the adults that they most trusted. So when those key relationships are fraught with difficulty or abuse or neglect, it has a really pervasive effect on our sense of trust, our sense of safety, our confidence and self-esteem, our hope, and our whole approach to relationships really, not just with other people but also with ourselves. It's in those important key relationships with adults early on in our life that we really learn how to relate, and so if that goes wrong, it has a massive impact. The trauma that they've experienced will have been in the context of key attachment relationships, and the solution, the recovery from that trauma, will also happen in important relationships with their foster parents. So availability is about being there consistently, reliably, and really showing up, not just physically but emotionally and mentally. The child needs to feel confident that you are going to be available. Children who've come into care might have come into care because their birth parents were not available to them in some really important way. Perhaps that parent was really struggling with addiction or was in an extremely violent relationship, was sometimes very, very unwell and other times really, really available. So the child just didn't know what to expect and they couldn't feel safe because they didn't know what was coming. Ways that you can demonstrate that you have been holding that child in mind with warmth and with kindness and with a kind of accurate understanding of what's unique and special about them. It might be something as simple as cutting their sandwiches just the way you know they like them, or remembering to buy a toothbrush in their favourite colour. Just little things like that can make a huge difference. It doesn't have to be something that's a big deal. In fact, it's kind of nice when it's just part of the natural rhythm of your day-to-day exchanges and we don't make a big deal of it. Sometimes making a really big gesture can actually make children feel really quite anxious about what might be expected of them in return, or to show the right emotion to you or the right level of gratitude. So it's really those little things that just show that they're being kept in mind. Predictability and routine are important as well. So sensitivity is really about empathy. It's about accurately and tentatively trying to tune into what your young person might be thinking or feeling. There are things for birth parents that might have got in the way of being sensitive to the thoughts and feelings of their children. Again, going back to things like addictions or being involved in extremely dangerous situations themselves. We know that when people are under an awful lot of stress, the bit of their brain that does sensitivity to what might be going on for other people goes offline. You can't do it when you're really, really overwhelmed. And so, dependent on circumstances, through no fault of their own, birth parents may simply not have been able to do that for their children. What children really need from us in terms of sensitivity is for us to think out loud with them about what they might be thinking and feeling, be willing to be corrected, invite that correction so that you can come to a shared understanding. And in doing that, what you're helping is for that child to develop their emotional literacy, how to communicate, how to express themselves, the confidence that other people can and want to understand how they're feeling, that it's worth talking about. And then once you have that shared understanding, to really think together about how to respond to those feelings, to treat them with due care and respect, that they matter. And what children need from us is to model that and actually show them what it looks like to have feelings in a safe way, to be able to share feelings with somebody that cares about how you feel, and to have somebody's help with working out how you respond to those feelings and what you do next, whether that's calming and soothing, or let's say you're angry about something, thinking of something that would make you feel like you've put it right. So let's say, for example, it's a hot summer's day and your child's come home from school, they've got homework for the next day, and they don't want to do it. An empathic and sensitive response would be to think out loud with them about that, to observe what's happening rather than try and cajole them into doing it. So first of all, to say something like, you know, oh, we're home now, and we both know we've got this homework to do, and I can sense that you really don't want to do it right now, and I'm wondering if it's been a really hot day in the classroom, and maybe you really need to cool down, have a cool drink, or maybe you need to move your body, or maybe you need to do something else first. Shall we have an ice cream first, and then when do you think is the right time for us to do this tonight? So part of what we're trying to demonstrate to children through our modelling around sensitivity is how to balance thoughts and feelings when making decisions about what to do next, navigating choices, and also to what it looks like to try and anticipate what other people might feel and work with that. For children who have had the adults around them ignore or twist their feelings, it can take a really long time for their confidence in sharing how they feel to come back. Sometimes indirect routes are better in that regard, and play can be a really useful meeting place where feelings can be explored in a different medium that feels a little bit safer, and that's one of the reasons why we teach therapeutic play as part of our training at ISP. For children who have come into care, a lot of their experiences will have left them feeling like they are bad or mad or just completely unworthy of being loved. Children tend to infer from the way people treat them what they're worth, and so if they've had lots of really difficult experiences, especially at the hands of their most trusted adults, it can be extremely difficult for them to develop self-esteem and self-worth. What children really need from us in terms of acceptance is not just for us to say that they are worthy, but to demonstrate it over a long period of time in a really consistent way, lots and lots of repetition. They will have had lots of repetition before coming into care of experiences that left them feeling unworthy, and so it takes a really long time to undo that. If we really want children to believe us about the fact that they're more than acceptable, we really need to show them that we see them as capable, that we involve them in things, and we celebrate what is unique about them. We celebrate their own quirky ways of achieving things and their genius ways that they have survived. We really need to see them as they are and accept them as they are. Another way that we can really help children feel accepted is to really get to know what their specific values are, what they believe in, and that might be about their culture, about their identity, but it might just be stories that they particularly like or characters that they particularly like, and really celebrating that about them, being prepared to get involved. Simple ways to demonstrate that you accept the children in your care might be to write them little notes of appreciation for things they've done, like, hey, I noticed you did this and you did it your own way, and that's really great. But it's also to demonstrate to them again what it looks like to be self-accepting, and that means owning our own frailties. We all make mistakes. To err is human, to forgive is divine. We need to not just talk the talk, we need to walk the walk as well, and really show them what it looks like to accept ourselves. Cooperation is really important. Children need to feel part of things and need to feel like they belong, and working together is part of the glue that holds family units and society together. Children who've come into care will have had experiences that have left them feeling really powerless, excluded and isolated, and so it's particularly important that we pay special attention to cooperating with them and helping rebuild their sense of capability, and that they can make a contribution and be included and belong. A really good way of approaching this is to do shared activities. So, for example, letting your young person choose a recipe and cook it together, divide up the tasks and eat it together. There are lots of things that children in care can't exercise choice about, but there's loads and loads of things that happen in the minutiae of every day that they can exercise choice about, like, would you like to brush your hair or brush your teeth first? It sounds small, but these options really give children a chance to feel valued. Again, with cooperation, modelling is really important. It's not just about involving your young person in small everyday decisions or doing stuff together with them. It's again demonstrating to them in a way that they can observe what a good team working looks like. You know, can they see you and another family member working together on something and playing to your strengths and valuing each other for the contributions that you're making. So for children that have come into care, and they will have had to have left behind everything they knew, the family that they knew, the community that they knew, the physical environment, everything from their clothes, their bedroom, their friendship group, their school. So belonging is particularly poignant. Bear in mind also that they're coming into an established family, that people that already know each other, that already know about the environment they live in, that already know how to navigate the community, that already have relationships beyond the family home, that know, the local school. So belonging is something that is particularly poignant for children in care, and we need to pay special attention to it. In fact, this is something that the secure-based model added to the basic idea of attachment specifically for children in care.